Hey everybody, this is Jackie. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Share this video with any of your other friends that are runners or travelers or thrifters or donut lovers. Would really appreciate it. Today I'm going to talk about the Carnival Frolic that happened in Decatur, Alabama on February 13th. This was the first time I've ever run in Alabama. It was a fairly flat course, but it started off the day pretty cold. The last couple of days before the race, it had gotten down to below freezing temperatures, which I hear is rare for Alabama. So there was one part early in the course where we had to run across a little railroad bridge, and all of us had to stop and walk because it was so icy. But thankfully race crew knew about it, heard about it, and put some, I believe, cat litter down. So on the way back, it was nice and safe. So like I said, very flat course. There was really the only hill that I can think of was a very minor incline heading up to the finish line. Love when they do that, don't you? All in all, I would say there was great support. There were a couple of local fans at the finish line, which was nice because COVID restrictions were kind of lightened up a little bit as far as having spectators, so that was really nice. The medal was nice and large, showing that to you there. Hope it comes into focus. I also happened to get first place in my age group, which was pretty great. And they were kind enough to send that medal to me all the way from Alabama, which I really appreciated because that's not cheap. T-shirt is a poly cotton blend. I'm a big fan of green. So the reason why it's called the Carnival Frolic is that time of year is Mardi Gras season, and Mardi Gras doesn't just happen in New Orleans. It happens and is celebrated all throughout the South. There was a parade later that day. Temperatures finally got warm enough for that. But I really had a great trip. So for this trip, I flew directly from Baltimore. No, it was not direct. Checking my notes. From Baltimore to Chicago, and then from Chicago to Birmingham. Picked up my rental car. Did a bit of driving on this trip. So the race was on Saturday. I did grab my packet that evening, the evening before rather, Friday night. Made it there like just in time. Really big packet. There was a local Decatur book, great for tourism. I thought that was really helpful. Treats and snacks and local information as well. I ate dinner that night at the Mellow Mushroom, getting a little bit of carbs, a little bit of fun, probably had a beer, definitely had a beer. The race was on Canal Street, so that was that morning, and then after I showered up, I drove to Birmingham because I spent a very quick time up in Decatur. But on my way from Decatur to Birmingham, I drove to my first stop of my thrift haul, and I went to the Unclaimed Baggage Store, which is in Scottsboro, Alabama. It is this mega warehouse where basically whatever luggage does not meet its owner, and I think like 90 to 95% of luggage does actually get back to the owner, but this is where it is resold, and they just have an absolute ton of stuff. I went on a Saturday, so it was definitely very busy, which in COVID winter feels a bit weird, but everybody wore masks. There was lots of opportunities for hand sanitizers and things like that, which was excellent. Had a ton of finds. This is literally just what people have packed for trips. So you can get anything from brand new things with tags to vintage stuff if that's the kind of person who has been traveling and has unfortunately lost their luggage. So I did get a bunch of really good finds. If you don't already know, I have a Depop shop full of band and concert tees. That is kind of like a little side hustle that I have, and so I was able to snag this U2 30th anniversary tee for Joshua Tree. That's one. The men's section was a real good gem for these Avenged Sevenfold. A little Justin Timberlake tour shirt. This one's a bit newer. This is just some of what I found. A good Incubus tour. There we go, that's a big one, that's a 2XL. Imagine Dragons tee. I have to kind of research what tour that is from, but really a ton of stuff. I think I spent probably about $200 there. I got some Levi's red tab in really good condition, lots of t-shirts. Honestly, I could just keep pulling them out, but I figured that would just be a very, very long thrift haul. I also stopped at several Goodwills. I'm checking my notes here. Several Goodwills and Salvation Armies from across the area, mostly in Birmingham. So I went to Decatur, drove to Unclaimed Luggage in Scottsboro, and then back down to Birmingham. And on my way down, stopping at a bunch of different places: Salvation Armies, Goodwill, Avondale Antiques, Suburban Urban Antiques, Irondale Pickers, Bargain Hunt, and Value Village. So a bunch of different thrift stores. They had a ton. Some of them were closed on Saturday, so didn't get to do my whole list, but got quite a few. That evening, I had dinner at Saltgrass Steakhouse. It was COVID safe, socially distanced, but still quite busy for a Saturday evening. Everyone did their best to keep safe. Highly recommend that place. Food was delicious. And then I flew out early the next morning. So a very quick race trip, but all in all, I would highly recommend the race. I would highly recommend going to Birmingham and exploring quite a bit. Doing these trips that are very fast does not allow me to obviously see everything that I want to see. I really enjoy modern art museums, and I didn't get a chance to go to one on this trip, but I would highly recommend going back, checking it out. They've got a lot of great local culture to explore. So I highly recommend adding the Carnival Frolic Half Marathon to your race trip list.